Hello everyone, welcome to part 1 of the Monsters of Pillar Chase 2, my new YouTube series. If you want to see part 0, link will be in the description. But anyways, now it's time to talk about one of the main monsters of this game. One of the very first ones you can get for completely free, Vapour. This is how our video is going to be structured. First, I'm going to be talking about the origins of Vapour, and the game he comes from and everything else related to him. We're going to be talking about how he functions within the game of Pillar Chase 2, and we're also going to talk about some other miscellaneous information I want to talk about related to him, like some of the powers he can use, or stamina, or anything like that. Anyways, let's get straight into part 1 of this video, the history of Vapour. So let's go back to 2010, when the horror genre would be changed forever with the release of Amnesia: The Dark Deception. Before this, games like Resident Evil were horror games that would have your character defensible, so you could help yourself from the evil that lurks, like zombies and whatever. But with Amnesia, you are not safe, almost no matter what. And so it makes the experience more horrific, since you can't defend yourself from anything. When this genre of games was flooding the horror scene, eventually YouTubers would start playing these games and recording their reactions to them, which mostly ended up in screaming. However, Jloby's Jake Games wanted a little piece of this pie that Amnesia was getting. So 3 years later, in 2013, he would create the demo for a new game called Vapour, and would later release the full game on Steam in 2015.
I didn't realize till later, when I was looking for compilations of PewDiePie screaming, that the item Lucifer in Pillar Chase 2 is actually from Amnesia. I didn't know that. I would have mentioned it in that video if I knew, and sorry about that. Anyways, moving on.
But anyways, about Vapour, this text on the screen, it talks about the lore of the game, and I had to get this from the Markiplier wiki out of all things. But anyways, so according to this wiki, you play as a warlock named Charles, who has been held captive and tortured by a cult for his entire life, because apparently he was a criminal and has been charged for them, and now he's stuck between purgatory and hell, and using some powers, he has to defeat some demons in order to wrong those who wronged him, or something like that. Now, I'm not 100% sure what you do in this game, considering that I didn't really play it, but from what I can gather by looking at it, you have to go around a map and collect some stuff, and then return it to another area with, like, mostly skulls around it. And the more times you do this, the more enemies you'll encounter, like floating skulls, Vapour himself, or this random lady that I have no idea who they are. You're also given orbs that you can project at enemies to kill them, that you can progressively upgrade over time. From what I've seen in later versions of the game, they give you a hand for blasting the orbs. That's kind of cool. Anyways, once you do this a few times, you get taken to a bridge that goes both ways, and you just have to walk to the one where it seems like there's a staircase there. But as you're trying to make your way there, a bunch of Vapours and skeleton guys try and kill you, so you gotta get there fast. Once you walk up the stairs, that's it. You beat the game. No more after that. Now, all the footage you've been seeing so far, including the intro and the music to the intro, has been on the creator's channel, so I recommend you go check those videos out, and the link for the game will be in the description. Now, the developer also has a video trailer for the sequel to Vapour, but outside of the Steam page, on which I can't really access well, and the trailer for it, there's not really much information about Vapour 2, so that's a bit unfortunate. However, a bit after the release of Vapour, big YouTubers started catching on to the game, like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, and even Corey Kenshin. Now, before we move on to part 2, I want to mention a few other things that are related to Vapour in some sort of way. First of all, the developer of Pillar Chase 2, Blade Ninja, ended up releasing a mod for Minecraft called Beware the Rain. Now, along with Vapour in this mod, they also had Rosemary, who we'll talk about in the next episode, and a few other horror-related characters that I'm pretty sure Blade Ninja was a fan of, that are also featured in some sort of way. From what I can gather from the footage, what Vapour seems to do is that when the rain shows up, he spawns in these little skeleton guys which are more similar to the ones in Pillar Chase 2 than the ones in the original Vapour game, and will randomly jump scare you until inevitably he kills you. Second of all, the developer of the original Vapour game has another channel and played Pillar Chase a bit on that channel, and is now actually working with Blade Ninja, so it's pretty interesting. And finally, this last part isn't related to Vapour, but this is just to add on from the last video I made about Pillar Chase 2, and it's that they added a new item to the game in the form of the glow stick. And it's basically kind of just a better flashlight, with the only downside being that you can't see directly in front of you. But aside from that, I feel like it's better than the flashlight, and it's less expensive too, so that's a benefit. Now it's time to move on to part 2, which is how he's actually like in Pillar Chase 2. Now, before we talk about how he functions, I just want to talk about how I think his design is absolutely sick. I mean, when you compare it to his old design, it's almost like night and day. His design is probably one of the coolest looking character designs within the entire game. His intro animation is also really cool, with him emerging from the ground from the Star of David. Now, most characters, whenever they're chasing a player, the player hears music as the person is chasing them. But Vapour doesn't have a theme song for when a player is close to them. He just makes noises. So it's probably a lot easier to catch the players off guard using Vapour. When you use him, he has 100 sprint power, and he has 2 special moves that most characters get. His first special move is the Demonic Shift, which allows him to summon a portal at any time, and he can travel between portals. And this is just what I think, but I think if a player unintentionally goes to the portal, or something like that, they get jump scared and then taken wherever the other portal is. Because I've seen this happen in gameplay and whatever, but in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong. His second move is probably one of the most overpowered ones, in which he summons a skeleton creature similar to the Minecraft mod, and it chases after the player that it's closest to, and keeps attacking it until it dies. However, the opponent can combat them by simply clicking on them a few times. And you know, despite a lot of people saying he's not, I feel like he's probably the best of the 2 starter characters, in my opinion. Because, I mean, while I don't have too many uses for the Demonic Shift attack, the skeleton attack is so good. And the range on him is not really that bad. So, if you're a starter, I recommend using him, honestly. I also love his jump scare animation where he just grabs you and incinerates you in his fires that he just spawns. He's honestly just a sick character. And finally, to end off this video, I want to talk about the skins for Vapour's character, which is this, part 3. So, if you don't know, in Pillar Chase 2, each character has unique skins that they can use. So, I'm going to be talking about them for Vapour, possible origins, or just, like, listing them off in general. Vapour is just, well, Vapour. There's not much to really talk about with the default skin. There's also not much to go off of the Orpal skin, aside from, you know, the funny word thing. Same can also be said for all the other skins you see on screen right now. I feel like I like use the skeleton one, because I do kind of like that one. But aside from that, I don't have too much to say about these skins. A lot of the skins look pretty cool though too. Anyways, moving on to actual skins with origins, starting with Gnorpy, which is based on images of people taking cats and then photoshopping them to look like aliens, kind of. Next up, we got Smog, who was actually the character from the original Vapour that I said I didn't know. And finally, we got Boogie, which is based on a character from the very popular Halloween/Christmas kind of stop-motion movie called The Nightmare Before Christmas, based on the main villain of the movie by the same name. There's also Cole that the Pillar Chase wiki says might be based on Vapour's original design, because even though you sometimes see him in red like his default skin, when you actually see him in game, he's just completely black. Now, the following skins, bronze, silver, gold, diamond, and RGB, are all skins that every single character has. The first 4 depend on what your rank in the game is, on the monster that you're trying to get the skin on. And for RGB, it's just a skin that every character has for some reason. That's pretty much all I have to say about Vapour in this video. If you want to be updated on the next video where I talk about Rosemary, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss that video when it's uploaded. And if you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like. And if you want to say something about it, say something in the comments. And don't comment about victory animations, because I just didn't feel like talking about them, okay? But anyways, outside of that, have a good day. Bye-bye.